Chapter 24, All Alone. Years ago, Kris was at a national convention for a karate organization. People from all over the United States were in attendance. An examination for rank was taking place. One of the testers, Bill, lived a long distance from any dojo associated with that system of karate. He had nobody overseeing his day-to-day training. Bill was on his own. Bill was solo training. Oh, he had a student or two, but that was it. There was no oversight. Kris was fortunate to be sitting next to one of Bill's students who had come to the convention. They watched the testing, observed and dreamed that one day we might be in the same spot. Bill took the floor when he was called. His karate was powerful. It was smooth, and it was at a high level. Kris had known Bill for a couple of years, but this was not the Bill who Kris had known. Commenting to Bill's student sitting next to him, Kris whispered, "That was impressive. He's improved." The student confirmed his observation and added, "His karate has gotten better since he started training in Bagua, a kung fu form." Was Bill still doing karate? Yes, and no question he was better for incorporating Bagua principles into his art. He was still solo training, but he was dipping his toe into other waters as well. He was investing in himself. Bill was illuminating his path. This is a tried and true method of solo training, to keep your root, yet grow more. There's a quote that we like. It's from Orson Welles, 1915-1985, the director of Citizen Kane, among other great movies. He said, "We're born alone, we live alone, we die alone. Only through our love and friendship can we create the illusion for the moment that we're not alone. You are born alone and you'll die alone." That's a stark statement. But it reshapes your view a bit to lead into the topic. In thinking about it, you're likely to agree that large parts of our lives are solitary acts. If you do martial arts, you are involved most of the time as an individual in a group setting. Solitary acts of self-improvement in a group setting. If you're part of a sports team, that's a different story. Even though you're responsible for your own role, you have to interact and work with others towards a defined common goal. In a solitary act, you own the goal. You're responsible for yourself the majority of your life. We're responsible for ourselves. And it is the true mark of a strongly built spirit and a desirous quality for a spirit to progress, to be able to live one's life strongly with that built-up spirit. It's every hero's journey. It is in every mythology. Whether it be Viking, Greek, Native American, or Roman, doesn't make any difference. It's that hero's journey. To elaborate, we can look to the long-retired National Basketball League, NBA, player Larry Bird. He played in the 80s, was a 3-time NBA champion, and a 2-time NBA Finals MVP. Bird was selected 12 times to the All-Star game, and it goes on. Even if you're not a basketball fan, you've likely heard of him. Larry Bird was known for his dedication to practice. He stepped onto the court hours before each game and shot basketballs. No coach, nobody but maybe a facilities or maintenance crew member was in the arena. It wasn't a show. It was a journey of self-discovery, continuous improvement. Bird was out there honing his skills. He stayed after practice shooting baskets too. While a member of a professional basketball team, Bird was dedicated to honing his skills as an individual in order to best contribute to the cause. He was responsible to himself and took that responsibility seriously, leveraging all the tools that were available to him. The coach didn't ride Bird. He took care of that himself. He used his strongly built spirit to develop his methods of training. This made him one of the greatest who's ever played the game. We would submit that you bought this book in part because you are interested in the same process, the principles, the discipline, the continuous improvement. The Japanese term for that is Kaizen. That special vision that makes all of our solo journeys the best is what we're able to execute while keeping that goal in mind. We're able to quietly say to ourselves, "Well done." Much training is by ourselves, for ourselves. We are responsible for our journey, and Larry Bird's example is one to emulate. After 897 games, he retired with 21,791 points, averaging 24.3 per game. A team-oriented player, He made 8,974 rebounds and 5,695 assists, 10 and 6.3 per game respectively. During his career, he shot .496 from the floor and .886 from the free throw line, making him the fifth overall, all-time free throw shooter. Athletes like Bird are the ones to emulate because they focus on simple, solitary practice, and doing that is essential to becoming the best and staying that way. If we shift focus for a moment and look at this in terms of dollars and cents, it becomes clear. Diversifying your financial portfolio is an investment, whereas buying and selling individual stocks is for all intents and purposes gambling. Are you investing in your martial arts training? Or are you gambling, or even worse, in some ways, not taking action? Think of the lotteries that governments have set up. These are designed to have the odds that favor the state, but people still throw their money away a couple dollars at a time, hoping for that chance to win big money. The fact is, they're not investing, they're gambling. Even if they get lucky, most folks who receive a payoff don't do as well as they could have with steady investment of the same amount of money over time. That's the opposite of what a trained martial artist should do. Luck is a very nice thing to have, but it isn't the thing to depend on. If you depend on luck, that means that you're hoping you will gain fortune. And hope is not a plan. Investment is a plan. When you look at financial investments, it begins something like this. Invest $5 a month. It's always get started. Getting started does exactly that. Begins your progress. No start, no progress. When folks adopt this policy, they set themselves up for long-term success. They are invested. We're suggesting that you do the same. How do you invest in your martial arts? Here comes the recommendations. Whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, the investment begins to add up. Instead of hoping to get lucky or doing nothing, stop trying to recreate that special school. That school that turned the light on for you. That place where that instructor saw something in you and you went, "Hey, I'm pretty good at this." It doesn't exist anymore, and even if it does, that's extrinsic motivation. Winners are intrinsically motivated. They don't rely on others' acclaim to push themselves farther or faster. You can't recreate that magic moment even if you wanted to. It's in the past, but you can take the lessons and the emotions, and you can move them forward. You should continue your solo training, and you should seek another teacher or martial arts school to guide you along the way if that original one is no longer available. But if you've fallen away, and you still have the desire to invest in your training, you can do that too. There's no point of no return unless you quit. When you get home and it is private training time, feel free to make a stew. Further, this creative stew is nothing new to the world of human nature. What you'll find is that your skills will improve. You will get better at your solo practice by dipping your toe into unknown waters. A balance of group and solo training creates results far faster than either can or does alone. Invest 5 metaphorical dollars at a time and on your terms. You're choosing the time, what, when, why, and how. You are making a long-term commitment, not betraying your style or instructor. You are igniting your training, like the small bomb surrounding the fissile material core that detonates a massive atomic device. We both know it comes down to the individual. It always does. So be that individual. Invest in yourself. Don't stand around hoping, because that's not a plan. Invest. Do it. Do it now. And do it with long-term goals in mind. Apply that sense of self-improvement. It is that piece of quality that separates you from the rest. Those of us who remember Larry Bird do so with reverence. He was a kid who came from French Lick, Indiana, a place nobody had ever heard of, and became one of the most incredible and successful athletes to ever play the game. He didn't roll over in bed one morning and hope to be the greatest at basketball. Well, maybe he did, but he had a plan for getting there. He put one foot in front of the other. Bird used the resources before him. He organized himself and put together a process that allowed him to become the Larry Bird we know and love. Is it important you generate your effort? It is. If you find it important, you will invest. You won't gamble. You'll succeed. Takeaways. Emulate successful individuals like Larry Bird in your approach to training. Consider your martial arts training an investment, not a gamble, and capitalize on it every day. Make a long-term commitment, balancing group and solo practice to excel. Quotes. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Henry Ford. Training is everything. The peach was once a bitter almond. Cauliflower is nothing but cabbage with a college education. Mark Twain. The key is not the will to win. Everybody has that. It is the will to prepare to win that is important. Bobby Knight.